Every comic wants to know the secret, the magic secret to success. And the biggest secret is
It's all messed up, yeah. Everything's messed up. We're going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.
every comic wants to know the secret, the magic secret to success. And the biggest secret is you have the evidence of everybody out there, everybody who's done it. You have videos of. You can study people frame by frame, second by second, timing by timing, word by word. How do they do it? How do they make it happen? And at the end of the day, it's a sale. Life is a sale. And there's no great comedian in the history of the world that isn't a great snake oil salesman up there. They have to sell. They have to convince you that you're valuable, and what you have to say is more valuable than anything that's happening around you right now. And it's so valuable that you want to pass it on to other people, because that's how incredible it is. And that's the thing that I always think about, and that what I've learned throughout time, what I try to stress, and when I consult with people and when I talk with young comedians. There's over like 1,000 people in this Blueprint program. I have meetings every Monday where I get to talk to so many people, and it's just a great thing, and to see them progress, learning these things. There's a young comedian in Florida. I love this. She was going over a joke with me, and it was so simple but yet so wonderful. And I was like, wow. This is great. And all it was, listen, I'm single. The toughest part about divorce is telling the kids that it was their fault. And it was just so simple. I just loved it. I love seeing things like that happen, where people come up with things that, and there's things that, believe it or not, there's things that are hacky that I still laugh at and I love. But everybody knows what they need to do to get to where they want to go. And to me, the last thing I'll share with you before we probably ride off into the sunset or whatever is the fact that comedy is this thing where, whether you like it or not, your material is a puzzle. And you're giving your audience the puzzle when you give them the setup, and you cannot let them solve the puzzle before you do. If you do, then you're dead. If they figure out where you're going, you're dead. So it's just the way it is. You can't, and the reason why one-liner guys like, another guy I work with who I love, Andy Huggins, who's 75 years old, been doing comedy for 45 years. And in the past year and a half, he's probably made more money than he did in his entire career just because going viral. But one-liner comics, it's very difficult to do, but it's very conducive to getting laughs because you can't figure out the puzzle in time. When Andy Huggins walks up to the stage and says, takes him time to walk up the stage, and he says, I started walking to the stage 20 minutes ago. You can't figure out the joke in time. Or when he says, I just paid off my student loans. You can't figure it out, or like, what's great about dating women my own age is I don't have to meet their parents. It's just, you can't, there's no way to figure out the puzzle. Rodney Dangerfield, oh, my wife's a bad cook. I don't think meatloaf should glow in the dark. You can't get there. I don't think the fly should have to buy a new screen door. You can't, there's no way. It's like, I went to the bartender, I said, surprise me. He pulled out a picture of my wife. You can't figure out the puzzle in time. So you're going to laugh. You gotta laugh. It's just, but the people who do longer pieces and jokes that take 20 seconds, 15 seconds, the danger is the audience going to figure out.
Right.
And if they do, then you're not going where you need to go. But if you fool them each time with original premises, original phraseology, get a helmet because you're going to do great things.
You mentioned several times the blueprint for success, and people can find that online. I got one more question for you. I'm a comedian, but I'm also a professor, and so I love like the educational side of all this. I'm curious. You've worked with thousands of people. What's been the hardest habit or mindset that people have to break? That you got to break people of when they first get involved with your program?
It's weird. People always talk about the blueprint, the industry blueprint. They talk about it like it's a program. I understand them talking about that. They talk about it sometimes like it's this, and it's weird. It's like I don't think of it that way.
Okay.
Maybe it is. I don't think of it that way. I just think of a community of people who are like-minded and want to
Hmm.
figure out
All right.
what it's going to take to get to the next level. But I understand what people are saying. But I think the biggest thing that is every comedian has to deal with is mind control, because um, doubt is the greatest dream killer,
Right.
and the comedians I'm always fascinated most about, especially young ones, and you've run into many of them, and I'm sure people who are listening know those people that they don't even understand that, if something goes wrong or something's bad or somebody thinks something poorly of them or thinks it's not even in their mind. They just go on, they do their set, thank you, and then they go, and they have no understanding of the implications of people trying to bring you down, people getting in your head, a crowd, maybe
Right.
you bombing or whatever. They just go on, they bomb. It's like, hey, thank you, and then they go to the next one. It's like they completely have blinders on as far as what
Right.
they're doing. Let just be just whatever. And then there's the other comics who are like, God, can you believe that guy asked me at the bar, like, how come I'm not working at the funny farm?
Mm.
What is he trying to get in my head? Imagine that comedian asked me, did I audition for that thing the other day? It's like, why does he have to ask me that stuff? Or imagine, I did my set and I had the audition, that guy heckled me. I can't believe it. And I'm not really highly religious, but I was seeing this video about this time of year, like for Jewish people, Passover. And the interpretation I got from it was really fascinating because, um, whatever the history may be, the Jews left from being slaves, they left to try to be unslaved. And the interpretation is that we have these things that are our masters. They make us their slaves. And who's at fault? The slave master or the slave?
Mm.
And who's really to blame? And you could say, the slave is to blame because they keep being a slave. The
Right.
slave master is to blame because they keep enslaving the person. And the slave master to comedians is their mind, that side of their mind which
Right.
always messes
Yeah.
with them.
Yep.
And it makes them its slave. And and you have to kind of do a biopsy of that to really get where you want to go, and know that you have the confidence to be successful, and know that you're not insecure about anything,
Right.
and know that you have a plan that's unwavering, and that if something bad happens, the tree falls in the path, you just move the tree, you just keep going.
Right.
What is
Right.
that thing that Mike Tyson said? There's variations of it, but everybody has a plan,
They get punched in the
and
face.
courage until they get punched in the face.
Right.
And comedians are going to get punched in the face every day.
Right.
And so
Right.
you just have to keep going. And there's no doubt in my mind, if I use Mike Tyson as an example, the one time he got knocked down and out or whatever, Buster Douglas, there's no doubt in my mind that if there were no rules in boxing, he just would have gotten up and kept going and kept
Mm.
going, kept going and kept getting knocked down and kept going until he finished the guy. But there's rules, and the rule was at 10, he's out. And so, but in comedy, you have to, what was it, was it Confucius that said it, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8? And that's the way it is. The business systematically designed to take the enjoyment out of it for you if you let it.
Right.
Look, I've been fortunate to work with so many people and so many great projects. I've been fired a ton of times. I've been hired a ton of times. But I can't control how people define me.
Right.
All I can control is how I define me. Now, if everybody defines me as a certain way, does that make me that person? Look, I'm going to say something that's probably could be unpopular. I don't care. I don't have a dog in the fight. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't vote for anybody. But what amazes me about Donald Trump, let's just go back before the election, not what's happening now, because, everybody could have a political opinion about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before the election, each time, I think any unbiased person could say that 99% of all print, audio, and visual media around Donald Trump was negative. I mean, and let's say somebody was generous and said no. The least amount of negativity might be 9 out of 10 things. Maybe
Right.
maybe 90% instead of 99%. Okay? Can you imagine, or anybody listening today, imagine if like every 100 comments you heard on a phone call, you saw written on the internet, you had people come up to you and say, you just walked to the grocery store. Can you imagine anyone on this watching this that would have the mental toughness
Right.
to be able to move forward and say, hey, I know how great I am. I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen. And those watching this who violently hate this guy and those watching this who violently love the guy, the one thing that everyone watching this will agree upon is that the quality of just being able to just move forward when everything's against you and people say bad things about you, and the narrative is that you are the worst in 9 out of 10 Saturday Night Live, every talk show opening, every news station except a few, every newspaper except a few, every social media platform except a few. And that's the narrative. Yet your narrative is, I'm going to be leading this country and I'm going to be the leader of the free world, or whatever it is. And it reminds me of this incredible story that I love. I want to try not to butcher it, but Barack Obama and Michelle Obama were at a restaurant, a really upscale, incredibly first-class restaurant in Chicago. And she gets up to excuse herself. She says, I'll be right back, goes back towards the bathrooms or whatever. And she's gone like for 10 minutes. And she comes back to the table and he says, are you okay? Everything okay? She says, yeah, I just went to visit the owner of the restaurant who's in the kitchen. It's like, you know him? She said, yeah, I dated him before I met you. I had a relationship with him before I met you. And Barack Obama says, oh, that's really amazing. You're such an incredible woman, Michelle. Like, if you had stayed with him, you'd be here helping him make this restaurant even greater than the greatest restaurant it is today. You'd be helping him be the best entrepreneur in the world. You'd be the person behind the man that that had this incredible franchises maybe all over the world. And when he finished, Michelle leaned over and she said, no, he'd be the president of the United States. And that's the level of confidence that, whether she on the other side of the fence or Trump, you just had to have that level of belief that no matter what anybody says about you, no matter what anybody does, that your goal is singular. Mike Tyson's goal was singular. Eliminate his opponent.
Right.
Your goal as a stand-up comedian is singular. Blow people away. Have them all going, what the fuck? What happened? That guy was that woman sucked. She bombed the last 10 times. What happened? How did that happen? And you pass people like a rocket ship. That's your singular goal. And you can talk about it all day long or whatever, but the fact is it's just getting into the mindset and getting the material that is undeniable and just creating those moments. And I'm telling you, like, that's what I love about my work as a manager, as a producer, in the Blueprint consulting. I just
what do you hope your ultimate footprint on the comedy world, I don't want to say industry, but what do you hope your ultimate footprint on the comedy world will be?
Well, that's a great question. But, if I practice what I preach, I would look at you and say, I don't care what my imprint is on the comedy world. I don't care what it is. I care what I believe it is, not what everybody else believes it is. But I'm not going to say that because I'm not that kind of person.
You just gave me the homily, the sermon on, be
no,
focused.
I know. But, listen, sometimes a lot of the things, like there's a documentary being done on me. And I just watched the rough cut opening. And the way the movie opens, it's the antithesis of what I've talked about. It's unbelievable. The way the movie opens is I'm sitting there and I say something to the effect of, I don't recommend this to anybody. And I don't necessarily think it's productive or that it's positive, but to get myself motivated for the day and the next day and the week, I get up in the morning and I look at the mirror and I say, you're shit. Because I need something to get me, like I want something to say I'm gonna lose it, or I'm gonna do whatever to get me in the place that I want to be. And so, but my legacy, if you're asking what the legacy is I just want to be somebody who was known as somebody who was talent friendly, who had a great eye for extraordinary talent, and who was able to make a difference in a valuable way to comedians of all ages and levels in the business. And I hope that this podcast added a little value to the people that you know, and hope it added a little value to you. And
definitely,
because what you're doing is something, you're trying to do something special, and I see what you're doing, and in my mind, it just goes, it's just winding up all the time, thinking about what I could do for this guy, I could do for this guy if I had time with this guy. Holy crap! But you can't always, unfortunately, when you're doing work with artists. Probably it's true in every form of life, and there comes a point in time where no matter how much you want to be of value to somebody, they have to be the one to take those steps. And at some point in time, what's really sad is, if you're a bee, there comes a point in time where you just say to the fly, look, I've tried to convince you that honey is better than curds, but I can't convince you anymore. So, and And so it's great talking to you, Michael. I wish
great.
you the best of luck. You're a cool cat, and I uh,
Appreciate that,
I
brother.
look I look forward to talking to you more in the future. And I thank you so much, and
Absolutely.
I thank your audience so much for listening.
Thank you, man, Barry. It's been great meeting you, brother. And where can I point people to the Blueprint for Success? You got a URL for me? Like I can put it in the notes later.
Yeah,
Where do you want me to point
just
people?
you can put, well, my Instagram is at Barry Katz, and it's theindustryblueprint.com. They can check me out there, or barrykatz.com, or largejew.com. No, I'm kidding. So, but really, this has been a lot of fun, and
Thank you,
you
man.
should be very proud.
I appreciate you, brother. And thanks everybody for watching or listening. Barry, man, I appreciate you. And yeah, we're gonna stop there, everybody, and say we hope that helps.
It's all messed up, yeah. Everything's messed up. We're going from this mess up to the next setup. Everything seems so messed up, but it's just our setup.